The Office of the Northeast Kingdom Council on Aging in St. Johnsbury is seeking people for a unique opportunity.
The office is looking for volunteers to help their clients throughout the Northeast Kingdom with snow shoveling for the rest of the winter. Karen Buda is the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program Volunteer Coordinator at the Council office, says that the RSVP program is for residents who are 55 years old and older who wish to become volunteers in the Northeast Kingdom.
We have had a few helpers come along, luckily younger males actually, who have actually, stepped up and taken a snow shovel to a roof and a driveway. So we've been very fortunate to have our needs covered. But again, I think it's incumbent upon us to realize that there are needs in our community.
People interested in this opportunity can call Karen Buda at 802-751-0431. Residents of Lyndonville can expect temporary road closures over the next week. This morning, Middle, Grove, and Church streets in Lyndonville were closed as road crews were out removing excess snow that's been piling up due to all the recent snowstorms. The crews told News 7 that these temporary road closures will be happening throughout town.
According to the National Weather Service, between Friday night and Sunday night for this upcoming weekend, Caledonia County is under a flood watch. This means that there is the potential for flooding to occur based on the latest forecast. Since last weekend, temperatures around the kingdom have been well above average, which has created plenty of snow melting to occur. The current forecast is calling for periods of heavy rain on Saturday that will heighten the risk for river flooding, along with the above average temperatures.
Really what they need to do is, if they live in a flood-prone area, they just need to monitor the forecast, and especially just monitor rivers. And once they see the waters rising to a level that they're used to seeing where they've had problems, then they need to take action and evacuate.
Reporter Tyler Hall will have an in-depth report in March on how the spring flood outlook in Vermont works and what goes into it.
Littleton, New Hampshire held their town meeting day at the Littleton Municipal Building last Tuesday for the future of the school in town over the next year. As far as the school end of things, all of the items on the ballot passed except for one towards appropriating $100,000 towards the site evaluation of the elementary school. Over the next year, the administration plans on putting together a vision for the future of Lakeway Elementary School before appropriating the necessary funds to Littleton residents.
As with any kind of an election or any kind of a referendum or whatever, now it's time to move on, look forward. I am very heartened by the support the community showed for the schools, and I hope that moving forward we can continue the progress.
The administration plans on looking at the existing structure very carefully and seeing how much money the rehabilitation of the current structure will cost moving forward.
Looking across the Passumpsic River in New Hampshire, town meeting day will be 1 week, and residents are already gearing up and voting towards school and town-related issues.
Littleton, New Hampshire will hold their annual town meeting day at the Littleton Highway Garage. And as far as the school end of things for Littleton is concerned, the proposed school budget is down due to significant cuts and readjustments that needed to be made going into this year. These cuts of approximately $300,000 were made because Littleton experienced a dramatic increase in taxes and overall tax rates going into the current year.
Actually talking about two very important things to most people, their children and their livelihoods. So it's been an interesting process, and I think that the citizens of Littleton and the town of Littleton will, as they have always, will do a great job with this particular election.
The voters of Littleton will have the opportunity this year to cast their votes towards school and town-related issues for town meeting day next Tuesday, March 14th at the Littleton Highway Garage.
The St. Johnsbury Police Department responded Saturday night around 8:20 to a robbery at the Champlain Farms. Good evening, I'm Tyler Simpson.
And I'm Rebecca Reese. Officers and the deputy of the Caledonia County Sheriff's Department were informed that a male subject forced the clerk to the register and demanded money. The male is described as about being 5'10", wearing a light blue jacket along with a red bandana over his face, and was wearing blue jeans. An unknown amount of cash was taken from the register and the male subject fled on foot. The police department is asking anyone with information to please call 802-748-2314.
Every town is unique and has its own history. There are 12 historical societies throughout Caledonia County. 2 of them, the Danville Historical Society and the St. Johnsbury History and Heritage Center, are the active societies that are open multiple days during the week. News 7's Tyler Hall explains the difference between an active society versus a non-active society.
For historical society, I think you need people who, again, there's interest specifically, from a community level in preserving that history. Most organizations, historical societies in Vermont, do become nonprofit organizations. It's not necessarily a requirement, but it's something that obviously tends to help. It tends to be sort of an expectation behind that.
As Eileen Corcoran stated, not all historical societies need to become nonprofit organizations, but making sure there isn't a society in your town is key towards establishing one in the future.
The Northeast Kingdom is sort of the least representative of the overall state as far as how many towns and the density of historical societies. Part of that has to do with sort of population.
5 of the 17 Caledonia County towns don't have a historical society currently. That according to the Vermont Historical Society's website. One of the 2 active societies is fortunate enough
to be open 2 days a week and to heat the building and to do some projects, and so this serves as an organization hub for a series of subcommittees that work with us.
There are 4 subcommittees that work with the Danville Historical Society, which has always been open 2 days a week. The other historical societies in Caledonia County are open by appointment, and one of them has...
Several of us have a key, and several of us have the time to be able to just go down and open the building up pretty much anytime we want.
That's the Burke Historical Society, which is one of 10 societies in Caledonia County that is only open by appointment. Tyler Hall, News 7 in the Northeast Kingdom.
The 5 towns that don't have a historical society currently are Kirby, Newark, Sutton, Waterford, and Wheelock. Corcoran says that it all depends on the people and whether or not the community values its town history.
Spring is on the horizon, which means warmer temperatures are coming.
The National Weather Service evaluates the current flood threat every winter and spring for potential flooding. News 7's Tyler Hall explains how the spring flood outlook works each year.
Here's the Sleepers River at the start of March. It's well within its banks. The National Weather Service is constantly monitoring conditions that could affect the river's flow.
An assessment of our snowpack conditions and river ice conditions, and then we take that information and convey it as an outlook for spring flooding, or how much will those 2 factors contribute to the potential for spring flooding.
They get help from this team, from the U.S. Geological Survey, for placing an acoustic Doppler current profiler in the Sleepers River. It takes about 15 minutes, and they monitor each river in the state 6 to 8 times a year.
USGS mission is to monitor the water resources. We're a non-regulatory agency. The Weather Service, the National Weather Service, takes the stream gauging information that we collect and does a value added. They do a forecast on what the current conditions are and project what could happen in the days to come.
Hansen says when heavy rainfall occurs, it can lead to flooding, even if there is no snow on the ground.
To keep tabs on the weather, if you're in a flood-prone area, if you live or travel through an area that sees ice jams, just be aware and know what you're going to do if flooding happens. And the one takeaway is do not drive through flooded roads.
During February and March, flood outlook briefings are held around the state for local and regional officials. They suggest people who live in flood-prone areas prepare to be stranded and without power for a couple days.
Prepare to be homebound for a couple of days by having what we call an emergency preparedness kit, but that's basically extra water, extra canned goods, battery-powered radio, can opener, maybe some over-the-counter medications, things that you'll need should you not be able to leave your home for a couple of days and you've lost power or other utility services.
If you do leave your home, officials say be extra cautious in your car when flooding is underway.
Well, most of the flood deaths actually occur in people in automobiles, where people are get caught up in floods, or they try to drive into water that they don't realize is as deep as it is, or the water's flowing more quickly. It really doesn't take very much flowing water to move a car off the road, and then you're in big trouble.
When Tropical Storm Irene hit Vermont back in August 2011, 3 people died. The latest Weather Service flood outlook says the Northeast Kingdom is above normal due to the snowpack, a snowpack that will get deeper with this week's nor'easter. Tyler Hall, News 7, at the banks of the Passumpsic River in St. Johnsbury Center.
The next winter and spring flood potential outlook will be issued on Thursday. This is also Flood Safety Awareness Week, designed to help prepare for the upcoming spring melt whenever that finally happens. Have you ever had a passion for something which turned into your life career? Well, News 7's Tyler Hall brings you a very unique story here in the Northeast Kingdom.
Here at Sweet Seasons Farm, the owner tells us her story for why she got into farming.
It's passion and wanting to, really caring about people and wanting to give them healthy fruit, healthy teas, and confections that have some organic goodness in them and high quality chocolates. That's my main motivation.
Other reasons to keep doing this hard labored work for Haney include:
when you take on something this big, you feel responsible to people, and not just in the community and locally, but you feel responsible on a national level, because the organic farms are changing. You know, they're big, they're becoming corporate. So the smaller we can keep our family farms organic, we feel like we're keeping a heritage here.
It all started years ago when Haney had the opportunity to work for a National Park Service backcountry trail crew that inspired her to get into high stamina work, such as farming.
All my old timer friend Vermonters that have been here since the 1600s, when they all started settling in, they appreciate what we're doing, because we're not tearing up the land and we're keeping it good and organic and wholesome.
Sweet Seasons Farm started in 2006 and has been quite the journey for Sue Haney, who plans on working here until she dies. Tyler Hall, News 7 in St. Johnsbury.